Now, when somebody gets nervous, is sometimes she likes hair.
Oh, she likes hair.
Yeah, and what she might do is swing around and start running up like this and going up next to your ears, and that kind of shakes people up when she starts coming at them like this. You know?
Yes.
But she'll flick her tongue on your nose or something.
On your nose?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But right now, she's just taking it easy. I don't see the tongue is hardly working right now, so now it's working now. But she might be taking a little cat nap. So you can't tell because her eyes don't close, but you can tell by the breathing. If she's breathing real shallow and her tongue is not working, it's a good chance she's taking a little cat nap.
A little cat nap.
Yeah.
Should she be standing in the sun so she'll be warmer?
Let me stand in the sun.
Yeah, you can go ahead and stand in the sun. Her body's they stay in an environment about 85 degrees.
I have desert tortoises.
So
we're trying to talk.
they are
Do we
used
have
to
to do that now?
they are used to a lot warmer weather.
They are, yes.
And but that's when you have to really be careful with is when they're little. A lot of people, their snakes die. They die on them because they don't keep them warm enough.
Oh.
And 90 degrees is more preferable when they're little.
Well, they say with desert tortoises that they
When they should be eating. If they're getting ready to shed, it's a good chance they won't eat as much, or maybe they won't eat at all. Because they're, for one thing, they're very uncomfortable. I tell the kids, I say, you know, how would you like to put on the clothes you got when you were 1 year old, and when you were 2, why you had to wear those same clothes, you know, and they're
Yes.
you want to get out of them. See? I said the snake his skin does not grow with the body. So every time it's a sign that they're growing. And a lot of misconception about rattlesnakes, for example, is that every button is a year, you know, and that doesn't
That is
mean
not
anything.
true.
It depends on how much the snake is eating and how fast it's growing. If it's in a place where it's getting a lot of food, it may shed 4 or 5 times a year. In fact, she's shedding right now every 2 months. So she's still growing. She's
Do you
still
know
growing.
tortoises, the squares, those
Parked up there by chance? Up here by the grave. The
Yeah.
three cars at yours by chance?
Uh-uh.
Okay, thanks. With a snake.
Yeah.
Your grave.
the tortoises squares, they had squares when they hatched and had rings around their little squares. You can't go by the squares on tortoises either.
Right.
The rings on them.
So it depends on. Now my male, he sheds every 3 months, so he's not growing as fast because he doesn't eat as much.
He doesn't eat as much.
No, you know he'll
Are
eat
males smaller than the species then?
usually.
It feels really
Yeah,
strange.
I find
You
that
can
true
feel
in all
when
of
she
my that
moves,
the males are
like
bigger
you can
than
just
the
feel like a wave of movement all the way through.
Yeah.
Isn't it something? You don't want to
If-
pet her backwards against your scales.
It doesn't bother. You know, it's not going to hurt her or anything. But her scales are like a fish scales. You know, if you go backwards on it, it doesn't annoy her or anything.
But wouldn't that ruin
She
her?
doesn't like to be picked at, though. I mean, you know, like, for example, if you were trying to determine the sex, and you know, of course you can with this one because it's big, but the little ones, they actually take a stainless steel rod and they throw them up the rear. And
Oh, really?
They don't like that. I don't think anybody likes that.
I don't care for that too much myself.
I'll tell the kids, you know, sometimes the kids,
Gee, which
they'll
doctor
wanna-
do you go to,
they'll
Dennis?
want
Is
to
that
hold one of
cruel?
those
I have to
snakes
pay
so
extra.
bad, and they'll hold it out
Oh, you
like
pay
this.
extra?
And the snake is dangling, you know, and I said, and the snake flipping around. and
Yeah.
trying to get- and
How would they
and
like
the-
to be
and I'll
held by
say,
their
how
arms?
would you like for somebody to grab you by the feet and hold you? You know,
Yeah.
by the
Exactly.
feet? I said, same way. It
I-
says, make them feel comfortable.
That's what I tell the kids
know?
about the tortoises.
Now,
They
this
want to
snake
pick them up
just
and their arms around
shifted
them.
her
They've
whole
got to put
weight.
their hand underneath.
Giacomo, stop it.
Just make them feel comfortable, right?
Come
Because
here.
this is the case in point right there. She's comfortable. Otherwise, she'd try to get away.
How long is she?
She's about 8'8". She's approaching
8
9
foot
feet.
8?
She doesn't look as big, you know, when she's crawled up. You get her out on the ground and let her stretch out. And you can't stretch her out on a tape measure. You can't do it that way. What you have to do is get her on a baseboard and let her crawl along a baseboard, and then you mark a spot.
Oh, I see.
And,
Now she's shifting. Look what
Yeah.
she's doing. Which way is she going?
You can check out your pocket, maybe.
Which end is
She's
where? I
looking
mean, this
down.
is the tail end.
yeah, her head's, you know, she's looking down.
Is the dog making her
No,
nervous?
she's not interested in the dog. She's just,
No, I didn't mean to eat. I meant
No.
nervous.
no, I don't think, no, she would have been going the other way. She would have been
Oh.
reaching down. She's investigating. She's
Isn't
curious.
this neat?
She's curious.
There's Dave over there. She's got to smell the molecules.
The male is the wanderer. The male, he is explorer. He's not, you know, when you got a hold of him, he's always looking around, you know, checking
yes.
comes out. And if you give them a place, when they were little, it was so funny, when they were little, I mean little babies, and
How
they're
little?
about a foot long. About a foot long.
Oh my
Live
gosh.
board or?
I would go,
Live
yeah, the live bears, yeah. I would go down and I would take them out, and every night, and there was a bed down there that I just lay on, and I'd put my hand like this, and they'd wrap their tail around my little finger,
Yes.
and they'd go exploring, but they'd never let go of that finger. They'd hold on to that finger,
Security.
and she'd make, or both of them, they make a 360-degree sweep, just checking everything out, but they'd never let go of the
Being
finger.
a good
And to this
boy,
day,
rock and roll, yeah.
not all the time, but to this day, when I pick her up, she'll hook her tail into my pants like this, or
In your
In your
pocket.
pocket. We saw in your pocket.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or sometimes she'll wrap it around my
Now
wrist.
is her tail down there? Is she looking for my pocket?
No, her tail's right in front of
It's
you.
your head. Her head's going
Oh,
down.
her
your
head's
left
in my
leg.
pocket.
Yeah.
Your head's
Yeah.
going down your left leg,
Yeah.
kind of your
Her
thigh.
head's, and she's
The
just
tail's
looking
here,
down.
that's right.
She's looking down, but she's not. She's just checking. Now she may pull back up again. It's hard to say.
Well, there's
She
more
probably-
sun down there right
Yeah.
now, and the breeze is
She
coming up.
probably
it's getting
doesn't
cool.
want to. She doesn't. Now this snake can get too hot too. That's another thing you gotta watch. When you get them out in the direct sunlight, and their body temperature gets up to about 95, then they start looking for a place to get shade. And they'll do. There's different motions. Most of the motions you get with these are what they call
Don't any of it down
serpentine.
the hole.
Yes.
They just go like this. But if she her body temperature starts raising, she gets a little uncomfortable, she'll
Giacomo's wings. Just
sidewind.
leave it
She'll do
together,
sidewind
please.
motion.
Okay.
That's
Now
right.
what's sidewinding?
She'll pick herself up and actually set her body down here and then bring up the other
Oh,
part.
is that right?
She can move a lot faster that way.
Oh my goodness.
Phil, how about you could tie Giacomo up with
So you can
Well,
No,
we'll
no.
tie you up with it. Would you like to be?
pretty heavy, but the corn snakes can climb vertically up a tree as long as it's got a little bark to hang on to like the
Wow.
There you go, Mom.
Where are we
Mom.
going? What are we doing here?
Oh.
I think she needs to go back up.
Be careful there. Don't squeeze
Amber.
her.
No,
Don't squeeze
Amber,
her
I
on
think
the
you
neck.
better stay
Yeah.
away from her head.
Yeah.
All right, you're making me
she-
Yeah,
nervous.
she's
Yeah,
getting nervous, honey.
Yeah,
She's going.
she's nice. She's just breathing heavy. She's not kissing. But she's,
That's weird.
sometimes.
Doesn't it?
And then I try to stress to the kids too. I say, don't think just because you can handle something like this that just go out and pick up the first
She's
snake.
gonna go
That's
right.
right.
Yeah, I think that little girl was overdoing it to begin with. It was worrying
Yeah.
me from the beginning.
Yeah, I was kind of watching it. See,
Yeah.
I've had classes with 30, 40 kids, and I really kind of keep my eye
Oh,
on them.
I'm sure you have.
Now I had
to.
one boy. I was at a school one time, and a boy I had her around my neck, and her head was behind me, and I could feel him. He kept
Oh,
picking at her, going like this at her, and I could feel him.
and yet you're trying to speak to the other children.
Yeah, and I told him, I says, you better stop that. You better stop it. And I tried to be jokeful about it, and I said, would you like somebody to keep poking at your nose like that? I said, no. And I said, well, just don't do it, And I could feel her. She got to where she was flinching back, And normally she doesn't do that. You can put your hand up.
But some kids won't take no for an
put her-
answer.
Yeah, and this kid kept picking at her, and pretty soon I felt her lunge. I felt her go "Dunk," like this, and I turned around, and this kid was like this, She didn't bite him,
Yeah.
but she took
Sure
a
tried,
snap-
yeah.
she took a snap
What
at
would
him.
happen if she had bitten?
Well, the thing is that all my school things are I don't charge, it's all free. That's another thing too, that we're
You've
not,
got to be real protective.
yeah,
in
right.
that,
We
yeah.
don't, I do it just for educational purposes, and I'm not trying to make anything out of it. And most of the schools that I went to, it was, it wasn't a totally, what I want to say, where people didn't know me.
But some kids just won't behave when
Yeah.
they just don't know.
Sometimes
No,
it's really amazing. Sometimes, classes, some classes were real good. The kids were unbelievably disciplined well. I mean, they were controllable. Other places I went to where kids were pretty wild.
the kids come to.
And I told them, I said, the first kid that I catch, first boy that I catch, going up and sticking a snake in a girl's face or something like that, I'm walking out. I'm packing everything up and walking out. So I usually told that right at the beginning. Or there's
Smart.
anybody doing anything, that she's she doesn't like this too much. See that, she pulls
Yeah.
back because she doesn't like to have something you feel the
Yeah.
sitting around her neck.
Yeah, some kids just really, if I get a bunch of hyper kids trying to feed the chickens and all the tourists, cut much shorter. We just don't do as much,
Yeah.
and that's it.
He said,
I,
oh,
I'll tell parents, you know, people, you can bring your neighbor's kids or your grandchildren or something. 2 or 3 of them, if they'll behave, we can do this and this and this. But if
She
they're
just
wild
banged
kids
on.
and won't listen, just don't bring them.
yeah. The,
But no, it's just. She
so-
seems quite happy, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
she's
with her
not,
friend.
she's not getting, she's not uncomfortable temperature-wise yet, because if she was, she'd be squeezing you tighter, because she'd feel a warmth in your body.
Oh,
She'd be kind of clamping onto you a little bit, not constricting, but
yeah.
just,
Can you notice
She's
the
reaching
weight
out.
of her, that she's heavy, huh?
Oh, yeah, she's heavy. Yeah.
It's your turn,
You
Dave.
need to check Dave out.
Maybe he's warmer.
Tickles.
I guess that's.
Do you know why she gets so many bread wrappers, Joan? She's buying 1 to 2 loaves of bread a day and feeding it to the birds behind the Safeway to waste her money too.
She is?
Yes, that's why that's why she's got so many bread wrappers for Gwen, because I couldn't see how she used so much bread.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, I said, well, how are you using so much bread? And then she's breaking, if she has anything soupy for the chicken, she's breaking up bread and so it won't leak when I bring it home. Because how, and then I bring her a loaf of French bread. Oh, I can't use more than half of that. You know? Well, you
I
use,
love
how
that
much bread
brown
you use?
sour French bread. I wish I knew what kind it was. It must be a bakery just close to you, isn't it?
I think it's bought 3/4 of the way cooked and then just browned at the store like you've heard on the TV ads. They aren't buying it from Sonoma anymore because it's changed hands and they might want more for it. So that might be, it's Parisian or something. We get the big boxes full of lettuce at times.
For John.
Where you can see what you can see what she thinks of the car.
Yeah, she's fixing it.
These are good magazines.
I know they
Pictures
are.
out of. Someone has to do a
Well,
collage.
Joyce, you left your coffee cup out on the deck again.
I did not.
Yes, and left coffee on the bottom.
That's not my cup. That was Phil's from
Oh,
yesterday.
right, the way.
And no wonder he's got a green one today.
Do you want me to step? The sun will be on her if I step away.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't?
Light, no, she's fine.
Wipe your fingerprints on.
Okay. Ew.
Is my magazine still okay? Yeah, it looks all right.
Did you devour that thing?
Just give me my magazine back. Did you ever, Gwen, did you get on your camcorder, did you get Dawn McCoy and Dad dancing? How did that turn out?
It's on there.
Is it on there? Did you see it? I mean, have you reviewed it to look at it?
Do you have the same reel in right now? Because Phil could play it up here so we could all enjoy it.
Oh, that'd be neat. But I'm not sure how those things
I
work
don't
yet.
think we have all the adapters.
He may have some up here. He's got lots of things. In fact, we've got 3 TVs.
So